Blizzard have revealed yet more class tuning for Season of Discovery, including some new items aimed at further benefiting casters to get them even closer to melee DPS. So let's dive into it. First up, we have an amazing mage change with the class changes. Living Flame will now consume and benefit from the Arcane Blast buff effect. This increases its damage by 15% per stack and stacks up to 4 times. This is amazing for mage, not only because of the obvious benefit that one of the new fun abilities added for the season is going to do considerably more damage, but also due to the way that Living Flame works, where it leaves a trail on the ground that continuously deals damage for 20 seconds, this should mean that Arcane Blast buff is going to snapshot. So it won't just be the first tick of damage from this ability that's going to benefit from the buff, it will buff the full 20-second duration. So maintaining that 4 times Arcane Blast buff on this ability is going to be crucial for mage DPS. I love it when changes can improve both gameplay and damage, so I really like this change. Paladin next. A PvP focus change here. Avenger Shield's movement speed slow is now properly considered as a snare, and it can be removed by effects that remove impairing effects. It's a nice little change there. It gives players more ways to be able to strategize and react when fighting paladins in PvP. I think it's generally bad gameplay design when you feel like no matter what you do you can't counter something, especially in PvP, so it's a really nice little change there. As well as that, Paladin's Seal of Martyrdom is having its mana granted to raid members increased to 20% of the damage the Paladin takes from the seal. That's up from 10%. Again, a nice little indirect buff to casters. A bit more mana being granted to the raid means more abilities being used by anyone using mana. It's unlikely to make a huge amount of difference, but the cumulative effect of all of these changes Blizzard are making is going to add up in the long run. I don't think any of us want to see Season of Discovery playing out with the exact same meta as original classic WoW, so I'm really glad that Blizzard are actively looking at the game and making changes. They're not afraid of changing things up, and they seem to be taking player feedback on board, which is fantastic for all of us. Onto the Rogue now, and Blade Dance has been updated to grant 10% parry at all combo points. The only effect now of combo points on the ability is to increase the duration. So a nice little quality of life change here. If you know some mobs are going to be alive for a few seconds more, and you don't want to get max combo points just to have the most amount of defense from the ability, you can just cast the ability at low combo points and get a couple of extra seconds of the full 10% parry. Simple change, nothing too special, but quality of life changes are always nice to see. Shaman now, and their Shamanistic Rage ability will now grant 20% of the mana gained by the Shaman to the rest of the party or raid, up from 10%. This is just to match up with that Paladin change that I mentioned earlier to Seal of Martyrdom, due to the fact that Paladins and Shamans are faction restricted in vanilla. So that's the class changes, but then we come to the biggest addition in this update, and it's actually for tailoring. So tailors can now learn to craft the Invoker's Cord and the Invoker's Mantle, 2 new caster-focused DPS items granting int and spell damage and healing. Or tailors can purchase the recipes from Boya and Orgrimmar at this location, and the Alliance can purchase it from Elena here in Darnassus. A post on Wowhead from Foolipe, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, said that these items allow Blizzard to fix a hole in Alliance's gearing. In the cloth shoulder slot, Horde can get the frayed chestnut mantle, while Alliance players had to get gearing options with much lower power levels. The Invoker's Cord belt meanwhile will help both factions by adding a proper spell power option in this slot, whereas before, most players opted to use the Belt of Arrogel because of the intellect. It's really nice to see Blizzard developers understanding gearing issues in the season and actively fixing them. It's really clear that Blizzard are identifying problems and offering solutions quickly. It's awesome to see. So many times in the past, issues like this would go ignored and unchanged, but this season feels different. Blizzard feel different. There seems to have been a real shift in the way that they're operating in the last few months, and as players, we're benefiting massively from it. Long may it continue. There's also a promise from Blizzard in this post that an additional update is on the way and it's going to be added to the game later this week. So hopefully we've got even more class changes to look forward to, and maybe even more surprising updates like these new items. I'll be making an update video when we have more info on that, so if you're interested in this kind of content, hit subscribe. And that's it for this bite-sized rundown. I appreciate you all for joining me. If you want to see my video on the last huge round of hotfixes for the season, it'll be on the screen now, and I will see you in the next one.